Most players think castling is always safe. But in this game, one simple castle leads to a brutal checkmate. Today, I'm going to show you one of the most dangerous traps in the Sicilian defense, the Siberian Trap. And if your opponent plays the Smith-Mora gambit, they are walking straight into disaster. Let's begin. White start with e4. As always, we respond with c5, the Sicilian defense. White plays d4, challenging the center. And yes, we accept. Pawn takes d4. Now comes c3. This is the famous Smith-Mora gambit. White is sacrificing a pawn for rapid development and attacking chances. We calmly accept again. Pawn takes c3. White recaptures with the knight. Now pause for a second. White's whole idea here is simple. Open lines. Develop fast. Attack early. So from here, we must not panic. We develop normally. Knight to c6. White continues with knight f3. We play e6. Solid move. Stops knight d5 ideas. Opens diagonal for the bishop. White develops naturally with bishop c4. He's preparing to castle kingside. Now comes a very important move. Queen to c7. It looks strange, right? But this move hides a deadly idea. White now starts thinking, what is black planning? He notices his bishop on c4 is slightly loose. So he plays queen e2, defending it. We continue development. Knight f6. Everything looks normal. And now, white castles. Looks safe, looks natural, looks standard. But this is where the trap begins. This setup is very typical for Smith-Mora players. Bishop on c4, knights developed, queen on e2, castle kingside. They feel comfortable. But now, we strike. Knight to g4. Pause here in your video and ask, what would you play as white? Many players immediately try to kick the knight with h3. And that is the losing move. Because now, knight to d4. Double attack on the queen and the knight. White is already in serious trouble. If white captures the knight, then comes the beautiful finish. Queen to h2. Checkmate. And if he decides not to take the knight, then he has to move his queen because it is being attacked. And after the queen moves like this, we can simply take this knight and give check. And now, no matter what move white plays, queen to h2 will be a beautiful checkmate. Now let's go back and see some other common variations. Basically, in this position, if white plays pawn to h3, then he will lose either his king or queen. Now what if he does not play h3? What if he plays knight to b5, attacking this queen and at the same time defending against the Siberian trap knight d4? Well then, you can simply move your queen back to b8, still maintaining pressure along this open diagonal. And now, if white decides to play h3, then still you need not move your knight. Instead, you can go for another trap by playing pawn to h5. If pawn takes knight, then pawn recaptures. And if the knight moves away like this, then once again, queen to h2 is a beautiful checkmate. This is the fishing pole trap. I have made a separate video on the fishing pole trap. Check that also. The link is in descriptions. One more thing to remember in this variation is that this knight on b5 is still unstable. At any time, you can kick off this knight by playing pawn to a6. And once the knight moves away, the Siberian trap can be reactivated by knight d4. Now some of you might be thinking, wait, what if white doesn't play h3? What if he plays g3 instead? Good question. If white plays g3, trying to stop the attack and defend everything calmly, he is actually creating long-term weaknesses around his king. Look at those dark squares. The moment he pushes that pawn, the king's protection is slightly compromised. And in positions like this, even a small weakness is enough. Now black doesn't need a cheap trick. Instead, we slowly bring our pieces into the attack. The queen can come in. The bishop can join. the rook can swing over, and white's king starts feeling very uncomfortable. So even though there is no immediate checkmate like the h3 variation, positionally, black is still much better. White wanted an aggressive gambit, but instead he ends up defending. And that's the real beauty of the Siberian trap setup. And that's the deadly Siberian trap in the Sicilian defense. One small mistake, and the game is over in just a few moves. If you enjoyed this trap and want to learn more powerful opening tricks that can help you crush your opponents, make sure to hit the subscribe button and join the chess or trap family. And tell me in the comments, would you try this trap in your next game? I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep trapping.